Hello everyone, welcome. Glad we could all make it today. Okay, I walk into a movie theater. I have a big vat of popcorn and a nice ice cold Coke. I sit in the middle row for a movie that I'm not aware of the plot, how it's going to be portrayed, but I'm here and I'm ready to watch. The movie is about my own life, except instead of me as the director, writer, and the actor, the director is a man, the writer is a man, and the actress is a more sexualized version of myself being portrayed. Male fantasies. Is everything run by male fantasies? Upon a pedestal or down on your knees, it's all a male fantasy. That you're strong enough to take what they dish out, or else too weak to do anything about it. Even pretending you aren't catering to male fantasies is a male fantasy. Pretending you're unseen, pretending you have a life of your own, that you can wash your feet and comb your hair unconscious of the ever-present watcher peering through the keyhole of your own head, if nowhere else. You are a woman with a man inside, watching a woman. You are your own voyeur. The male gaze, the effects of over-sexualization of the female body. What is the male gaze? The male gaze describes a way of portraying and looking at women that empowers men while sexualizing and diminishing women. The term male gaze was first popularized in relation to the depiction of female characters in the media, often objects of male desire. It extends to the experience of being seen in this way, both of the female figures on screen, the viewers by extension, to all girls and women everywhere. How does the male gaze exist in our society? The male gaze was first introduced in 1973 by Laura Mulvoy. In her paper, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema, she states that pleasure in looking has been split between active male and passive female. This suggests that our society is structured and benefited for heterosexual men, and that women are objects of visual pleasure and are there to support a male lead role. Mulvoy also states, demonstrating the way the unconscious of patriarchal society has structured film form. To summarize, by living in a patriarchal society, we fall into this habit without realizing that the male subconscious runs our current society. The male gaze in the media. This is one example. The Marvel franchise. Both men and women can suffer from the male gaze. It's not just a woman problem. We see this in Marvel. Men in the Marvel universe are seen as muscular and manly, and many believe that is the female gaze, but that is meant for male viewers. It is meant to show that to be manly, you must be muscular, or you must fight crime. Black Widow has been sexualized in what she wears, how she acts, and what her missions are. She is constantly supporting a male lead role. She didn't get her first solo movie until after the character had already died, and she was one of the first Avengers. But Captain America and Thor got 3 movies in the time that Black Widow had none. The film industry is highly influenced by men. According to Statista, in 2019, 84.9% of directors in theatrical film were men. So obviously, the male gaze is going to exist if this many directors are men. Okay, what is the female gaze? Anyone? What is the female gaze? The female gaze puts more emotion into the film. Usually the female gaze deals with feminine issues, therefore getting criticism from men. Let's take an example. The movie Birds of Prey. Movie Birds of Prey, it is focused around a group of women who are trying to heal. I mean, it's a vigilante, anti-hero sort of movie. However, Harley Quinn wasn't sexualized in this movie like she was in the first Suicide Squad movie, and therefore she received criticism for it. And she doesn't have a male love interest in this movie, and so it received more criticism than it should have. When maybe it's not made for men, maybe that wasn't their demographic that they were shooting for when they made this movie. But men will always have something to say, no matter if it's for them or not. How does the male gaze impact society? Along with being objectified, we as women objectify ourselves. Because women have seen other women being objectified in most media outlets for years, we tend to have an internalized male gaze. What does that mean? What does an internalized male gaze mean? Anyone? No? It means that we ourselves, because we see women in media objectified constantly, over-sexualized, diminished, we do that to ourselves as well. We feel like that we need to look a certain way, act a certain way to get male validation and attention. This is a habit we've all learned and we are unable to break because we have a man inside our heads controlling us like puppets, like my first quote said. We are our own voyeur. There's a man inside our head looking through a keyhole. Thank you for listening.